So today I'm going to show you how to create mossy cobblestone, and we are going to be using this set of colors. It's kind of a lot, but it actually, you'll see how it makes sense. And then also I'm using a white gel pen. Now, if you choose, you can pre-draw your stones in with a pencil if you want to. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to dive in. So I'm going to start with my lightest color, which is the CG1100 or the CGII00, however you want to look at it. And I'm using the brush tip. And I'm just going to take and lay down that color in the square. Just like that. Now, I'm not going to worry about getting it just perfect. I'm just going to kind of go over the spots that it ended up being a little bit lighter than I wanted with that light gray color. Now I'm going to go in with the next color, which is the WG4. Actually, no. I'm going to go with the WG01 first because it's lighter. And I'm going from light to dark. So I'm going to add some stones. Now they're very organic feeling. There's, I'm not doing perfect circles. I don't want perfect circles. And I'm actually going to kind of add them around the square in different sizes and different parts. I can always go back and add more if I want to, but for now, that is where I'm going to go with that color. My next one is now going to be the WG04. And actually, I'm going to use the smaller tip on that side. And this is just a little bit darker. And again, you can see I am not doing perfect circles. They're just kind of little blobby kind of shapes. And I'm kind of moving those colors around my square. I can go back and add more of that color if I want to. My next color is the CG11 or II04. That's the next one I'm using. Again, I'm going to use the small tip on this one. This one is just a little bit darker, or a little bit different tone. It's more of a gray than the brownish gray that I've been using with the other dark color. And I'm kind of adding these in a little bit. Add a little one there, maybe one, just part of one there. And now I'm going to go in with my darkest gray, which is the NG06. Again, I'm going in with my smaller tip. And I like the variety of the dark and light for the stone. I also like the variety of different shapes I can do. And I'm going to kind of add those in between. Just like so. Now, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do drop shadows around my stones so that they kind of have some dimension to them and they're not super flat colors. With the lightest color, WG01, what I like to do is I like to go with another layer just around the bottom part of the stone. And kind of add my shadow that way. Again, I'm just doing a drop shadow. I'm not going all the way around the stone. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go back with the WG4. And I'm going to add that drop shadow. And I'm not going to really have a drop shadow on that one because it's at the bottom. But I'm going to add it here. I'm going to add a little bit there. I'm going to add the drop shadow here. And again, I'm just using the same color that I did before. I'm just adding a second layer to it. Just like so. And then for the darkest one, I am going to change it up a little bit. I am going to do the CG11 or II09 because this one's pretty dark. So I'm going to add just a little bit darker marker for that one, just so you can really see the shadow on there. Just like that. Now, It's a little bit hard to see that this is gray. It is gray. It's a light gray. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some GY173, which is a very light green. I'm not going to add it over all of it though. You can, if that's what you would want to do. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to add it kind of in between my stones a little bit here and there. Especially around those light ones, because you'll see in a minute when I start to add the dark green, or the darker green, what happens. So the next thing is the GY42. I'm going to use my thin tip here, and I'm going to dot some of the green in there. I don't want to color it in because I want to see some of the gray and some of the green through there, some of the lighter green. Now you can start to play with the value, which is the light and dark of the color, with those lighter stones. The darker shade against the lighter stone is really going to make that stone pop. So again, I'm just adding some of the green, and I'm even going on some of the gray with the darker green. But I am letting some of that light green show through too. I want some of that light green coming through. And I can go through and just kind of see where I need to add a little more green. I can put it up on top of the stones a little bit if I want to. And just add some little, just some little spots. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to add some highlight to my stones and my moss. I'm going to use my white gel pen, and I'm just going to add some little white dots on top of the dark green moss, just to give it a little bit of a highlight, and that kind of makes that moss kind of pop off as well. Okay. So I've got those little highlights. That adds a little bit something to it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of highlight on the stone. Now you have to do it the opposite side that you did your drop shadow. Okay. So I'm going to add it along the very top of the stones themselves. And they're not going to be super prevalent on the lighter stones, but you'll still see it a little bit. You'll still see it a little bit. Just like that. I'm going to add a little here too. Now I'm going to go back in with my dark green because there's just a few spots that I want to be able to see those stones a little better. Just like that. And the more space I leave between my little dots, it's going to be a little bit of a lighter value. I'm going to make that darker down in that corner. And let's add a few in here too. I can go in. I can play around with adding, I can even dot a little bit of the light green in there if it gets a little bit too gray or a little bit too the dark green. I can go back in with some of the light green and kind of blend out some of those areas a little bit. I'm just dotting, doing some quick little dots in here. And if you go over that dark, it's going to kind of blend out a little bit with the lighter color too. There you go. There is your mossy cobblestone coloring.